Today, we are diving deep into a feeling that is just way too common these days. That feeling of being totally, completely, and utterly spent. We're going to break down the burnout loop and try to figure out why so many of us feel so tired all the time. I'll start tomorrow. Oh man, we've all said it, right? It's like our go-to mantra for putting things off. That huge project, that new workout plan, that thing we know we should do, it can always wait just one more day. If that sounds painfully familiar, you are definitely not alone. But what if I told you that the reason you keep hitting that snooze button on your goals has less to do with your willpower and way more to do with a little glitch in your brain? That's right. This is not about you being lazy or undisciplined. That feeling of being overwhelmed and just plain stuck, it's actually rooted in our biology. It's like a timing error in our brain's wiring, and it gets amplified by the world we live in. So let's start by unpacking that feeling. Okay, first up, let's talk about this weird state of being wired but tired. It's this strange paradox that kicks off a really nasty cycle of exhaustion and, well, blaming ourselves. So on one side, you have the actual feeling. Your body is just done, totally drained. But your mind is running a marathon, right? Just churning through worries and to-do lists. But then on the other side, you have the blame game. That little voice in your head telling you, I'm so lazy, or I should be able to handle this. But that feeling, it isn't a character flaw. It's a very real physiological state. So what is actually going on inside our heads to make us feel this way? Let's get into the science of it, because it really comes down to this timing glitch in our brain's whole reward system. This quote from psychiatrist Dr. Sunil Reg just nails it. Procrastination isn't laziness, it's a dopamine timing glitch. See, dopamine is that chemical that basically says, go. It's what gets you motivated to do stuff. But in a procrastinating brain, that go signal, it's showing up way, way too late to the party. And it's not just dopamine. It's also about cortisol, your body's #1 stress hormone. Just look at this chart. Normally, your cortisol should be high in the morning to get you up and moving, and then it should drop at night so you can actually sleep. But in that wired, tired pattern, it's all backwards. You've got no cortisol in the morning, which is why you feel like a zombie, and then it's spiking at night, leaving you staring at the ceiling. Now, all this cortisol chaos is a sign of something called HPA axis dysfunction. You can think of your HPA axis as the command center for your entire stress response. But when you're under chronic stress, day in and day out, the communication lines get all staticky. Your body basically forgets how to turn the stress response off, leaving you stuck in high alert. I love this analogy because it makes the dopamine problem so clear. Your brain is supposed to give you a little dopamine hit, a little spark of motivation, just for starting a task. It's like getting a little reward for just opening the fridge. But for a brain that's procrastinating, that reward only comes after you've already eaten the snack. There's no spark to get you going in the first place. And the source of all this chronic stress isn't always just about having too much work. For people on the front lines, doctors, social workers, therapists, it can be something called vicarious trauma. It's this deep shift in how you see the world because you're constantly exposed to other people's pain and suffering. That constant emotional weight is a huge driver of the very brain changes we've been talking about. Okay, so if our internal clocks are all out of whack, how do we even begin to fix them? Let's shift gears and talk about the practical, individual things we can do to start resetting the whole system. The good news is we can actually retrain our brain's timing. Here are 4 quick resets you can try. First, light and movement. Just 5 minutes of walking outside can give you a dopamine boost. Second, chunk it down. Break that massive task into tiny pieces to get more frequent little rewards. Third, the 2-minute start. Just commit to 2 minutes. It's a simple trick to get your brain to keep going. And finally, reward the cue. Teach your brain to associate the start of the task with something good, not just the finish line. Beyond those daily hacks, we can also zoom out and get more strategic. Research on physician burnout actually points to this 5-step plan for long-term fulfillment. It's all about moving from checking out your surroundings to really thinking about your values, to creating a vision, making a plan, and then, this is key, constantly checking in with yourself. It's about aligning your life with what actually matters to you so you can prevent burnout before it even starts. Of course, none of this really works without a solid foundation. These are the absolute non-negotiables for getting your hormones and your nervous system back on track. Consistent sleep, getting some sun in the morning, eating balanced meals, and staying hydrated. You can think of this as just the essential maintenance for your body's entire operating system. But here's the big turning point. All the self-care in the world can start to feel like you're just putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound if the world around you is the real source of the problem. This is where we have to zoom out. This model shows us that burnout is not just a personal failure. It's a product of all these nested systems, from your own biology to your relationships, your job, your community, and even bigger societal pressures. Every single one of these layers can either protect you or just add to the exhaustion. And this is exactly why solutions from, say, your workplace have to be smart. In one study, they made stressed-out medical students take a mandatory mindfulness course, but it actually became another source of stress for them. Why? Because they scheduled it on their busiest, most insane day. It just goes to show that good intentions mean nothing if the system itself doesn't actually change to make space for well-being. So what does a good organizational fix look like? Well, one great example is structured, supportive supervision. And this isn't just about managing your to-do list. It's about teaching people how to manage stress, actively looking for signs of burnout, and really creating a culture of trust. This is how you build resilience from the top down. And this brings us to our final and probably biggest idea. Fixing burnout isn't just on you to figure out. It's a collective responsibility that requires a whole system to change. Look, self-care is absolutely crucial, but it's kind of like patching a little crack in the wall when the entire foundation of the house is crumbling. To really prevent this burnout epidemic, we have to fix the system at every single level. So the path forward involves much bigger actions, advocating for better policies, building burnout prevention into professional training from day one, and funding more research to find out what really works. It's all about shifting our entire culture to one where well-being is seen as a shared, non-negotiable responsibility. Which leaves us with one last question to think about. After seeing how our own brain glitches are connected to the pressures of our jobs, our communities, and our society, is burnout really a personal problem for us to solve with more self-care? Or is it a collective responsibility that we all have to address together?